Hey everyone, I'm going to show you how to finish up your beanie. So thus far you should have a giant rectangle with lots of these half double crochet back loop only rows, and we're going to basically be folding the beanie in half like this, so that, and then we're going to slip stitch across this to join the ends into a giant cylinder basically, and then we're going to cinch the top shut to create the top of the beanie, and that will be it. So after you finish the rectangle portion, um, make sure that you've ended on a row where you can work to the left um, across both of the ends, and we're going to slip stitch across the both ends of your rectangle. And this is the short end, not the long end. So to work a slip stitch, it's very similar to a single crochet stitch where you're going to, let me just grab the working end of the yarn. So we're going to be working into the front loops of this row and through the chain stitches of the first row in the rectangle. So this is the last row and this is the first row. So in the last row, we're going to be working in the front loop only. So if we look at this as the last row of stitches, the front loop is the loop, the V that is closest to you, and then the back loop, which is what we were working in earlier, is the leg of the V that is away from you. So front is always relative to yourself. So for this stitch, the front loop is this first one. So working into the front loop means just going like this through the front loop. I think I missed a, there we go. So this is the front loop. And then so we're going to be working through the front loop and then through the chain stitches in the original, in the very first row. So working through the front loop and through the chain stitches, you're going to work the slip stitch, you're going to yarn over like usual, yarn over and then pull through both loops on your hook, and then pull through even the first loop. So I'm going to demonstrate that again. So to work this slip stitch, we're going to work first into the front loop of the last row, through the chain stitch of the first row, yarn over, and then pull through every single loop on your hook. So you can kind of do this all at once, or you can do it like step by step, which might be a little bit easier. I usually do it in 2 steps. So we're just going to keep slip stitching through the front loop and then through the chain all the way across this rectangle. And you can see that it just results in this nice join, which is going to seam together the 2 ends of our beanie. So I'm just going to keep doing that all across. And as you're working, you can see that sometimes as you keep working into the front loops, these on the side look kind of similar to the stitches on top, but don't get confused. So make sure that you're always making sure that you're working into the front loops of the top layer of stitches and not these on the side, which look like stitches but aren't. So you can just check by moving this end over and then checking to make sure that you're working into the front loops. And I've just gone to the last stitch, so I'm going to remove my stitch marker and just work the very last slip stitch of my row. Awesome. So, as you can see, we've just finished working slip stitches all across this last row, and it's nicely closed up, and you can't even really tell that it's a slip stitch instead of a different row that we have. And so right now it should just look like a very long cylinder. You could probably peek through it. And our very last step is to just cinch up the top. So to do that, cut a long tail, maybe about 4 feet. I'm just going to do that right now. And pull that tail through the loop, the last loop that you've made. And grab a tapestry needle and thread your tail through it. So the way that we're going to cinch the top of the beanie closed is we're just going to thread this tail using the tapestry needle back and forth throughout the entire circumference of the top of the hat. And you don't have to be really exact about this, but I think I'm just going to go in maybe every 2 rows or so. So I'll demonstrate that. So I'm just going to go in like near the top of the maybe second row closest to me, pull it through. So because I went in, I'm going to come back out over here. I'm not being super exact, I'm just kind of going every 2 rows approximately. And I'm just going to repeat that all around the entire hat. And you can just mark where you began using a stitch marker because it might be kind of hard to see. Or you could just kind of look, but it makes it easier to have a stitch marker there. So I'm just going to keep doing this all around. So I've just gone all around and I'm about to do my last time threading through. So once I've gone all around and I've threaded my tapestry needle all around the top of the circumference, I'm just going to pull on the yarn and cinch it shut. So don't pull too tightly, otherwise it might rip the yarn, but pull pretty tightly so that you can make sure that the top is cinched closed. And what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to thread the yarn through the top of the beanie and make a kind of an X shape with my stitches just to secure it all together. So I'm going to go across. Go back. I'm going to go down a bit. Just keep going back and forth a couple times until you feel like the top is secure. Once you feel confident about how secure the top is, just tie a knot with the tail end of the yarn. And the way I do that is I just hold the yarn with my left hand and then hold a needle in my right hand. And then I'll wrap it around, like going from the top and then towards me. I'm going to wrap it around the yarn a couple times and then pull the needle through. So this creates like kind of a double knot all in one, which is a lot more sturdy. And I'm just going to make the knot a little bit smaller or make the loop a bit smaller so that the knot is flush with the top of the beanie, and then make sure that the knot stays there. So to weave in the end, take your tapestry needle and then go over and under any stitches that are near the knot, just so that the end can be hidden. So I'll just go over and under a few stitches over here. I'll pull the needle through, and then I'll just cut the yarn here so that the end is all woven in and you can't see it. So now, flip your beanie inside out. This is going to be the inside with the knot. And here's the top. You can't really see any of the stitches, which is great. And so it's going to look like this. Kind of like mush it around, see however you like it the best. And then because the beanie is probably a little bit long, you can fold it up with a brim maybe 2 or 3 inches, however long you like it. If you like it really slouchy, you can even not fold it down, fold it up, but I like it folded up a little bit. And now your beanie is done, and you can gift it to anyone you want, or you can even like sew like a little label. Oh, and this tail, if you still have it, you can just weave it in just like we did above by threading the tapestry needle with it and then weaving it through a few stitches. And cutting the end. So there's your seamless beanie all ready for you to wear.